Well, Heidi Ho, this is Caleb Jones, and this is the Alpha Male 2.0 podcast. And I am sitting here talking into this microphone in an odd position, physically in an odd position, because I am recovering from surgery right now. And maybe about a week or two after this podcast goes up, there will be a YouTube video where I can show you visuals on this stuff. But today I think I'll talk about that. It's a big topic, and so I will just hit the bullet points on this podcast. What I did was, a while ago I lost a bunch of weight, and I've gotten older. I'm almost 50. And so there are two particular parts of my body where I had some loose skin and some stubborn genetic body fat that actually doesn't leave. And the celebrity example I use for this is Vin Diesel. If you look at Vin Diesel, if you look at him from the side profile, even though he has a very low body fat percentage, he has kind of this double chin hanging down. And it's basically loose skin plus some genetic fat that will probably be there the rest of his life, irrelevant of how low body fat he gets. Another example that I've used before is, in terms of genetic fat that you really can't lose, is LL Cool J. LL Cool J has this almost borderline chubby round face, even though he's ripped. I don't know if he's ripped today, but I remember watching some movies of him a few years ago, and he would pull up his shirt and show his ripped six-pack abs, but he has this really round, borderline chubby face. Well, that's genetics. So he can't like spot lose fat off that. That's just his genetics. So if you want to get rid of that kind of stuff, especially if it's loose skin, you got to remove it surgically. And so that's what I did 4 days ago. Today is day 4. And what I've been doing is I've been posting regular updates on Instagram of my recovery process and how things look. And I will repurpose those videos and make a YouTube video. By the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, I put video content there every day. I don't put anywhere else on YouTube, places like that. So you can go to Instagram and just do a search for The Real Caleb Jones. And that's me. So specifically, what did I do? Well, the first thing I did 2 surgeries at the same time, 2 parts of my body. One was I had some fat left over on my double chin, a little bit of that. And so what they used for that is a type of liposuction called, I don't know what it's called, micro liposuction. There's no incision. They take it looks like maybe take a pen and break it in half. It looks like one of those. It's called a cannula. And it's got blades on the outside of it, and they put it into your skin, they stab it in, and they move it back and forth, and then they pull it out. And they make about 6 holes in your skin while they do that, and the holes heal completely. It take about 2 months to heal, because I know the people who've had this procedure done or similar procedure. So it takes 2 months to heal. So for about 2 months, I'm going to have these 2 or 3 little dots under my neck, which is fine, I don't care. And they go away and they heal. And the cannula is attached to like a vacuum cleaner, I think, and it just sucks the fat out. And then within about that time frame, about 2 months or so, takes about 2 months, your skin is nice and tight. And then within 9 to 12 months after the procedure, your skin actually gets tighter again, because doing this actually stimulates stem cell production. So you actually have 2 phases of this operation, post-operation, where it looks like you've lost weight on your face. So I did that. And so right now I'm wearing a wrap around my head, going under my chin and over my head. I had to wear this for 24 hours after the procedure. And for the next week, I have to wear this as much as possible. I can take it off whenever I want. I can take it off when if I want to go outside or go somewhere, or if I want to eat, then I take it off. Other than that, I leave it back on, certainly at night. And it's actually not too bad. There's a lot of puffiness from the procedure and a lot of, not scarring, bruising. And by the way, if you could tell I'm not 100% on my game today, I'm not at my typical energy levels because I'm still recovering. It's going to be about like this for a week. I'm a little less bad than I was 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm still nowhere near 100%. I get very tired at about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it feels like a normal guy. I now understand what a normal guy feels like, where guys say, I work for 3 hours and I get tired. I've never had that problem. I never get tired, but now I am, because my body is recovering. So that's first thing I did. The second thing I did was on my chest, specifically, mostly the front of my chest and the side of my chest, man boobs. There's some loose skin on the side of my chest that wasn't going away. And I could tell from the weight loss stuff I was doing that it wasn't going to go away. So I had that removed using the same procedure. So they did two things. One is they used the cannula, And they did that on the sides and some of the front of my chest, a little bit on the front. And then when I went in for the consultation, this is a guy who I did a lot of research on. The guy that did the procedure is not only an expert at this, he flies around the world training other guys on how to do this. So he's a top end guy. This is a pretty expensive procedure. He said, now, if you want me to get, 100%, get all that fat out of there while we're in there, if you want, and you don't mind, I could make an incision under your nipple. Yes, I know that sounds horrible. It's kind of just this halfway under your nipple, and I can completely get it out. And I thought about it, and I said, well, fuck, if I'm doing this, I might as well get this done. I don't want to do this again. So I did that as well. So that is actual real incision, microliposuction, in addition to the cannula. So I am now wearing a gigantic, almost a foot in diameter, or foot in width, I should say, bandage, multiple bandages wrapped around my torso. And I had to keep this on literally for an entire week, and I can't take it off, which really, really sucks. And he was telling me during the consultations, he goes, the biggest problem is that fucking bandage. You're going to have to keep that bandage on for a week. You're going to hate it. It's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable. You can't get it wet. Oh boy, which means you can't take a shower, a normal shower, for a week. You can't take it off. You go to sleep. You have to literally keep it on tight for 7 days. So I'm 4 days into this. I've got really 2 days, actually 6 days in my case. It's now Saturday as I record this. The procedure was done on Tuesday. I go in on Monday to remove the bandage. He's going to check things out. And I have a feeling what he's going to tell me after that is that I can wear the bandage. I don't need to wear the bandage during the day, but I have to wear it at night for maybe a month, just when I'm sleeping, which would be fine with me. Fine with me. This bandage sucks. And it works the same way. My chest right now, it looks like a fucking horror show. So does the bottom of my neck. I've got massive bruising all over the place. I haven't been able to wash the front of my chest, obviously. So when I peek under there, it looks pretty disgusting. Some of the fluids that that I had to leak out. Oh, let's talk about that really quick. That was the funnest part of this fucking procedure. For 24 hours, the way this works for the anesthesia is they actually pump anesthesia into your chest region. And so all that garbage leaks out the first 24 hours. So for the first 24 hours, I was leaking this light red fluid. It was not blood. It's nothing like blood. It's sticky and more watery all over the place. So I had to take some dog pads. Those dog pads they use the dogs pee on where it absorbs the moisture. Pink Firefly has those for her dogs. I took 2 of them, duct taped them together, wrapped them around my body, my torso, over the bandage, tightly wrapped them there, and then put a shirt over that. And that way it caught all this disgusting fluid that was leaking out of me. So that was fun. That was just for the first 24 hours, but I got it on my bed and had to sleep on towels, and I ruined one of my pillows and dripped some on the carpet. I got to clean that up. And, it was, good times, the things we do for our bodies. Isn't that great? So what my point, circling back to that, is the bandage now has those stains on it. So it looks pretty fucking gross. So I'm probably going to get a new, more permanent bandage on Monday when I go in. And in terms of pain, I haven't really felt any pain. I have been on no prescription painkillers throughout this entire process. They did prescribe a narcotic that was optional. I did not even go to the pharmacy and pick it up. I don't want to take drugs like that. I just don't. I don't want to risk anything. I hear too many horror stories, and I have a philosophical objection to taking drugs for myself. Anyway, as most of you know, I've never done drugs. As I mentioned in one of the videos already posted on YouTube a few days ago and soon on YouTube, the procedure really wiped me out the first 24 hours, more than is typical. Coming off that anesthesia, I felt terrible. Well, worst days of my life. Physically, I mean. Most people come off anesthesia pretty well. I mean, Pink Firefly just had a surgery about 2 years ago. And like most people, within 2 hours, she just had something to eat and she felt fine. I felt terrible the rest of the day. I got home at about 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I slept for 3 hours, woke up, still felt awful. I could barely move. I could barely walk around. I would get dizzy and the room would spin. Completely sleepy, like my eyes were shutting, even though I couldn't fall asleep. But I was like that the entire day into the evening. And then I tossed and turned all night. It was pretty bad. And I'm pretty sure the reason for that is my body is a big pussy when it comes to drugs. So I've never been drunk in my entire life. I've never done drugs in my entire life. I've never drank coffee in my entire life. So I think I'm just a big wimp. So that's one of the many reasons why I try to avoid things like narcotics. What they did have me do for 3 days after the procedure, so I just stopped yesterday, was take 800 milligrams of ibuprofen every 8 hours for 3 days straight, which sucks because ibuprofen is very bad for your stomach. It's terrible for your gut biome. It basically nukes your stomach. But they really wanted me to take that, not for the pain, but for the inflammation. It's an anti-inflammatory. And with all these wounds all over my body, they didn't want my body blowing up like a balloon and inflaming, which would have been really bad. So to keep the inflammation down, I had to take this. And so to protect my stomach as best I could, what I did is I took the 800 milligrams, that's 4 pills of ibuprofen, 200 each. I would take a coffee cup, put boiling water in it just a little bit, dump the pills in there, swirl it around, mix up with a spoon to basically dissolve the pills into the water. And then I would do, tasted terrible, an ibuprofen shot and just down it and immediately eat some food, like some bread or some chips or some cheese, something absorbent, to just minimize the damage on my stomach. I didn't want that stuff laying around on my stomach. It's just ibuprofen's not good for your stomach. I really didn't want to take it. But see, even with the ibuprofen, I didn't want to take that. But as of today, as of maybe about 24 hours as I make this recording, I've taken no painkillers. The bandage hurts a little. So when I move, make certain movements, I go, ugh, hurts a little bit. I can already tell, I haven't taken the bandage off, but I can already tell looking into the bandage, even with the puffiness, that I have a lot less body fat up on my chest, especially the sides of my chest, which is the main reason I did this, plus my chest than I did before. And even though my neck is puffy now, because it's healing and it's inflamed and bruised as fuck, I look like Freddy Krueger. Look like a chubby Freddy Krueger, because all inflamed, bruising, all that great shit. But I could tell the first day I got home, and I quickly looked under the bandage of my neck. I mean, I have like no double chin. It's awesome. So in about 2 months, and it's going to take about 2 months, I'm going to look pretty damn good. And in about a year from now, I'm going to look really good. Plus, as I've talked about on YouTube already, I have started a very aggressive weight loss campaign for the next 6 months. This was actually phase 1 to get this loose skin and body fat taken off so I could just not worry about this and get it off my plate as quickly as possible at the beginning of the year. That's why I did this. But 6 months from now, I'm going to look pretty damn good. And a year from now, I'm going to look really good. So with the weight loss and this new sculpting I'm doing. So very happy about that. I've gotten questions about, hey, Caleb, what's your opinion on the freezing thing? Well, the freezing thing is called cool sculpting. That's usually what it's called, at least in the United States. And that's what you go when you go in and they clamp down on your whatever parts of body fat you have that you don't like. So women usually do like the insides of their thighs or under their arms. Mostly women do this more than men. They can do, your, chest and stuff like that. They can do your stomach. And it clamps down on it and it freezes it. It's very, very cold. You got to go in and do this 2 or 3 times. Costs about $800 a pop. And you basically piss out the body fat. It dissolves the body fat and you just pee it out or poop it out, as the case may be. I'm not sure which one. And so you can lose it that way. And yes, that does work. I know people, women especially, who have used that procedure and it does work. It does help. It's not as effective as what I did. It's not as effective as using a cannula. There's another thing called, what's it called? It starts with a V. I forget the name. And they do injections. So it's non-invasive, unlike what I did. It's non-invasive. So they do a bunch of injections and it's like $4,000 and you wait and then it dissolves the fat another way. That is better than cold sculpting. But it's not quite as effective as a cannula or liposuction, even though it costs about the same, which is why I didn't do it. I looked at the prices for both and it was about the same price. I'm like, well, fuck. If it's not as effective and it costs the same, then screw that. I just don't think they have it at scale enough where they can drop the price of that procedure, at least at this time. But I know it does work, and I wish I could remember the name. Maybe it'll come to me later in the podcast. As you can tell, again, I'm not 100% today, so if I forget shit, that's just the way it goes. What else? I don't think you should use surgical procedures in lieu of losing weight. I have known a few big fat people who have gone in for liposuction to lose or to get the body fat sucked out of them that they could have lost if they just went on a goddamn diet. So I think that's really bad. Again, this is weight that I couldn't lose, that I tried losing and I couldn't. I lost weight everywhere else, but not in these spots. These are only certain spots. It's not like I went in and said, okay, take all the body fat off my stomach, because I got plenty on my stomach and my love handles and on my back, I've got some body fat. I didn't do all that. I just said, these 2 little areas that I know aren't going away because I've always had a problem with them genetically, even when I was lean, back when I was a teenager. So even when I was reasonably lean, back when I was 18 years old, lifting weights every day and very reasonably athletic, I still had that double chin. It was just a genetic thing. It's from my family. As I've mentioned before, my mom has 8 brothers. They're all Sicilian, and I look like all of them. They look like my clone. I guess I'm a clone of them because they're older than me. And they all had that same double chin. It's just a genetic fucking thing. And so no more of this. Done with that. No more double chin. Thank God. But my main point is, and I don't want to give you the impression I did this because I would be against this, and I've told people this, you don't go in for liposuction to lose the body fat you can't lose. Instead, what you do is you lose the body fat through normal means, through normal weight loss, exercise, fasting, calorie reduction, blah, blah, whatever you want to do. And then once you get down, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds, whatever you use, 100 pounds, 100 plus if you're really fat, then at that point, if you have loose skin or stubborn fat that isn't going away because of genetics, then go ahead and get surgical stuff done. That's fine. That makes perfect sense. That's kind of what I did. My overall view of cosmetic surgery or plastic surgery, I recently did an AMA, and that was one of the questions. I am for it. I think that I know, I've read the studies where, for example, women who are flat-chested have flat chests and they hate it. Now, some women like having small boobs. I'm talking about women who have very small boobs or flat chests and they hate it. They absolutely hate it. They don't feel like a woman. When they go in and get breast implants, when they get fake boobs and they get, a C cup or whatever, they're not giant porn star tits, although some of them do that, but when they just get normal boobs, not only do they feel better, but they feel better for the rest of their lives. It's one of the few things you can do, cosmetic surgery, that makes you happier and sustains that long-term happiness. Well, Alpha Male 2.0 is all about long-term happiness. So if you have a physical deformity, like you have a really fucked up nose or something, and it costs you 10 grand to get a nose job, great. You'll, statistically speaking, and I've seen this happen in my own life, people I know, you get it fixed and you're happier forever. It's not like most things where you're happier for a while and then you hate it. The exception to that rule would be, and this is getting a little political, so I'm not going to go into detail about this, but gender reassignment surgery. My dad is a psychologist, and the statistics on that are pretty clear. Men who turn into women or women who turn into men, they're happy when they get the procedure done, and then within a year or two, they're just as depressed as they were before. So that'd be the one exception. So I'm not big on that in terms of being happy. But in terms of making a tweak to your body or your face that really, really, really bothers you, that's really irritating to you, and you spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 sometimes for a one-time procedure to get that fixed permanently for the rest of your life is well worth it. So I'm a big fan of that. Now, that brings up the topic of women who go overboard with this, women who get, size H cup tits, or women who get these gigantic fat asses, bigger than Nicki Minaj from these Brazilian butt lifts. Of course, you can go too far. And the celebrity example I've used of that is Joan Rivers before she died. Joan Rivers, in her prime, was a perfectly normal, attractive woman. And if you know, later in her life, she looked like an alien because she had all these fucking procedures done, one after the next, after the next. Michael Jackson, another example, just completely transforming how they look so they don't even look human anymore. Obviously, that's a problem. And so the rule I've heard is that I think I agree with is only 2 procedures on your face and then stop. So maybe you get a nose job and you get your lips fixed or whatever. That's it. Don't do anything else. You're done. Don't get 14 facelifts and all that shit, So I've had a procedure done on my face now, my double chin, and I'm not going to do anything else for my face. My face is fine. Later in life, when I'm in my 50s, probably not 50s, probably 60s, I will probably get a facelift. I will probably do that. That's fine. Now, hopefully by the time I'm in my 60s, 20 years from now, they'll have other options that are better and more effective and less costly and easier to recover from. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get a facelift when I'm older, sure. And that'll be my 2 facial procedures, and that's it. I'm done. So you don't want to go overboard with this shit. And usually it's women who go overboard with this cosmetic surgery stuff more than men do, more than guys. Although there are exceptions. I've seen a lot of gay guys go crazy with this crap. There are some really weird procedures you can get. There's a procedure you can get where Pink Firefly watches this show called Botch, and she was showing me this stuff. There's a procedure you can get, or a guy got on that thing, some gay guy, who got a procedure where you can make your armpits no longer stink. It's a surgical procedure. Weird. So you never need to use deodorant for the rest of your life? I don't know. I don't know what other problems that would cause down the road, but well, interesting. If you have seen my wife, Pink Firefly, she has gotten boob procedures. She is a triple D, which I think is fucking great. I like big boobies. So obviously I'm a big fan of this stuff, as long as she doesn't go too far. And I'm sure as she gets older, she's going to be tempted to go too far. I'm going to have to gently stop her. And I can't stop her. It's an OLTR marriage. I can't tell her what to do, but I can strongly word my opinion. I said, look, you're already pretty. You don't need to keep going with this crazy shit. Because there's a lot of women, there's a whole subculture of women who do things, not surgical procedures, but things like Botox every fucking month and lip fillers every month and fillers around their eyes every month. They go in all the time. By the way, I should mention, I get Botox. I started about a year ago. I go once every 90 days. I get a little bit on my forehead, a little bit on the sides of where I have my crow's feet. That's it. And the cool thing about Botox when you're an older fucker like me is the longer you do it, the less you need. So they don't inject into my face nearly as much as they did when I started. It's gone down, which is good. Am I a fan of that? Yeah, it's fine. Now the Botox, if you weren't aware, is not a permanent procedure. You have to go back and keep getting it done every 90 days or so. So it's just a regular thing I do. I just don't care. And then they say, but Caleb, then you can't move your face. Well, I've shown in videos, I can move my face plenty. Fine with me. I don't give a fuck. In terms of future procedures, I have none planned. So this is it for me. I'm good. I don't want to do this again. Matter of fact, that's why I kind of went hardcore on this, so I wouldn't have to go back and do this again. Other than I'm sure I will get a facelift when I'm older in my 60s. Because as I've talked about before in Alpha Male 2.0, you're never monogamous. So you're going to have to sporadically bring new women into your life at least at some point. So we don't have the option as Alpha Male 2.0s to age like shit. Now, obviously, I'm going to continue to do all of my skin regimen stuff for the rest of my life. So I'm not going to need a facelift anytime soon. I'm sure I'll look fine in my 50s. But in my 60s, sure, I imagine getting that. But that would be about it. In terms of cosmetic procedure, I can visualize me ever getting. I'm trying to think of anything else I have done or have thought about. Oh, so I have, if you watch my YouTube videos, I have a small mark on the left-hand side of my face. It looks like a little teeny tiny bruise. Looks like someone punched me on my cheek. That is sun damage I had from many, many, many years ago, my early 30s before I started wearing SPF. And I have gotten that lasered a few times, so it's much lighter than it was. And so down the road, I may go back and get that lasered again. I mean, maybe. It doesn't really bother me. I don't really care about it. But yeah, that's about it in terms of procedures. Let's talk about cost. How much does this all fucking cost? So if I had just done my little double chin thing, it would have been about, what were the numbers? Just under $4,000. And that's a one-time cost. So to me, it's a no-brainer, $4,000 to fix a problem for the rest of my life. That's a very high ROI, so no problem. The entire procedure I got neck plus chest, and chest was a much bigger procedure because it requires anesthesia. We're just doing your, if I had just done my neck, it doesn't require any anesthesia. They just kind of give you this drug and it makes you loopy and you can't feel anything, but you're still awake. So it's much less expensive and the recovery is easier. But with the whole shebang I did with my anesthesia and chest and neck was, let's see, just under $12,000. So about 11,000 something. I remember the exact number. And again, I make a high income. It's not a big deal to me. I did very well in 2020 with income wise. So I did very, very well in my investments. And again, it's a one-time thing. Hopefully, unless something strange happens, I'll never need to go back and do this ever again. Thank God. And so again, a one-time thing to make my body look permanently better in these two areas, $12,000 the rest of my life. Again, no brainer. And it's very similar to, by the way, which is not the topic of this podcast, but the hair restoration surgery that a lot of guys get, which I did not get. I have non-surgical hair restoration, but hair restoration surgery for a lot of guys is going to run you about that. It's going to run you about $12,000. And if you're a higher income guy and your hair's thinning and you're not the kind of guy who could shave his head and look good, some guys don't have that option. I certainly don't. $12,000 is well worth it. $15,000 is well worth it. Perfectly fine. Now, the challenge with the follicle restoration surgery is that you have to go back and do that every 10 years. So the problem, and that's why I didn't do it. So you got to spend $12,000 to get the hair restoration follicle stuff done. You look great, and then you got to go back in 10 years and do another $12,000 or $15,000. You got to do that, maybe 3 times over the course of your life. The reason for that is the hair follicles they fix will never fall out of your head. But what about the follicles that you have not lost yet, that have not fallen out of your head yet? Those are going to continue to fall out. It's a challenge there. But even then, I mean, that's a valid expense if you want to look good and you're an older guy and you have higher income and you don't have the option of shaving your head because you don't have that kind of face. Perfectly fine. I did the non-surgical. I like that better, but that's just for me. Just a decision I made. But people will talk about, like, a woman gets a nose job and her friends will say, well, how much? And she'll say $13,000. They'll say, oh my God, that was so much money. Well, if her nose looked legitimately bad, $13,000 is money well spent. For the rest of her life, she's going to look good, look better. Now, you have some women who their noses look just fine and they get fucking nose surgeries and nose jobs, rhinoplasties, because they're weird, because they're girls and they have this weird thing about, I need to look perfect. And, you know, they have that body dysmorphia thing going on. Then obviously spending $13,000 on your fucking nose is stupid. And thankfully, thank God, most of us guys don't have that issue. Most guys, if they have a fucked up nose, don't even notice or care. Another beauty of being a man. We just don't give a shit about this stuff like women do. So certainly I'm sure that women you have dated, especially if you dated women over 30, they're really into this stuff, nose jobs and Botox and fillers, and it's just a big part of their lives, especially when you have an OLTR who is very pretty, like I do. It's just a big part of her life. And she gets together with all of her pretty girlfriends. They all talk about their fillers and Botox and who got their lips done and all that stupid shit. Oh, thank God we don't have to do this, man. Thank God. I mean, you know, it sucks I even have to do this. But anyway, I will be back to normal in a few days and then physically normal about 2 months. And then in a year, I'm going to look damn good. I plan on looking damn good, not in a year, but even 6 months. So I'm done losing this weight. And then it'll take another 9 to 12 months. So I'm just going to say 12 months for the stem cells to kick in on my neck and my chest to make it look really, really good. So January of 2022, right before I turn 50, which is kind of my goal here. I want to enter my 50s looking as good as I can, looking damn good. I do not want to be in my 50s worried about losing weight or worried about body fat. It's not something I want to worry about in my 50s. Fuck that shit. Because the older you get, the harder this gets. So I'm getting in while I'm still not really old and getting this shit done. And like I said, this surgery was phase 1 of that for this year. And I have a video on YouTube where I go through all the other stuff I'm going to do in terms of my weight loss this year. Ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, real fasting, hypnosis, a bunch of things I'm doing. So that's it for now. If there's a lot of interest on this topic, I'm happy to do another podcast on this. I have a lot of information on this stuff, on these topics. I've spoken to a lot of doctors about this. I've spoken to a lot of women about this. I mean, I'm a fucking expert at the procedures women get in terms of like boob jobs and internal bras and Brazilian butt lifts and different types of lip injections and collagen injections. I'm a curious guy, so I talk to a lot of women about these things. So there's a lot of interest in this topic. I'm happy to do another podcast on it. But until then, I will see you very soon. Have fun. Bye.